Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, and people on YouTube, and people here in the Gosu Academy class. Today, what is my plan is that we will be talking about a theory. I recently sort of created a lot of theories now that I've retired from Counter Strike. Um, I had the cone of awareness theory. I had the pressure lines theory that we've already talked about, and I have prepared today a new theory that I like to call follow the traffic. Um, with the cone of awareness and with pressure lines, there was something very visual. The theory itself was easy to explain with having the radar up and being able to draw on the map. This one is one where we kind of need to rely on a demo. Um, I have a demo of a game I played earlier today on my own personal Twitch stream, and I am fully exposing myself here because I'm going to be playing very poorly. Um, I'm going to have very bad stats, and I'm going to have very little impact. But it will help explain what I mean when I say follow the traffic. So, um, just sort of to give you a little bit more context as well. You on Discord won't be able to see it, but from the YouTube video, I was playing this match on Mirage, and we had an average elo of 2,900 on my team. Currently, I'm 3,350, and we had this player who had only, but he had 2,500 elo. And this guy had almost 1,000 elo less than me. And so, even though this is a lobby with a pretty high average elo, this is at the same time a lobby where the difference in top and bottom elo is very significant. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when you have players, like top players, typically what they are really good at is they are very good at playing in a way where they maximize the impact. So if you have someone like Simple, for example, when he plays in a top team, he's playing phenomenally well and doing everything right, basically, because he knows that when he makes a move, some guy on his team will offer a flash, or some guy on his team will be there to support or trade or bait for him or whatever. But when someone like Simple plays Faceit, regular Faceit, he tends to not have the same superstar power. In terms of his individual ability, he does, but in terms of maybe his impact on the game, less so, because his teammates won't be listening, won't be giving him the proper util, won't be baiting for him, and won't be doing all these things. So the sort of opposite side of the coin here is a player like Sai Wu, who I think is basically the master of this theory of follow the traffic. Now, what Sai Wu does different or sort of better than Simple is that he is very good at playing with his team and playing with his team's pacing, no matter who he plays with. Sai Wu is, I think, the best Faceit player in the entire world, and it shows because in FPL he has very high win percentage. When he plays Faceit, he has really high kill performances. In general, has a really good win rate, even though he isn't the type of guy who grinds the most. And to explain this concept of follow the traffic, the idea behind exactly this sentence, follow the traffic, is that when you learn to drive a car, obviously there will be people here who don't have a driver's license or maybe are too young to even get a driver's license. What you learn is that a lot of the time, the best thing you can do is actually follow the traffic. I had an incident, or I don't know if you would call it incident, but where I took my car and I drove over the Polish border. And when I got into Poland, it was a 2-lane highway, but one of the lanes was completely closed down due to construction work. Now, normally on the highway in Poland, I imagine you can drive 110, 120, something like this. But because of the work on the highway, like the construction work, and because there's only one lane, I was only able to drive 60 according to the signs and according to the law. I was driving for 15, 20 minutes in a 1-lane highway, And at some point, I had, I want to say, 15 cars behind me in a tail. When the construction work stopped, and when the lanes divided again, we had 2 lanes. Well, people were passing me on my left side with a very high speed, and some of them were honking, clearly sort of signifying their dissatisfaction with the way I had been driving. Well, what I learned in that situation is that even though I was the one following the signs and I was the one driving according to the law, it was clear that the locals who were driving that passage of the highway, maybe daily or regularly at the very least, were wanting me to not follow sort of the rules of the road, but instead follow the traffic. The idea behind following the traffic is that if everyone is driving very fast and you are following the law and you're driving very slow, this is more likely to cause a crash. If everyone is driving extremely slow and you're driving very fast, this is also more likely to cause a crash. But if every car around each other is driving the same speed, well, you are less likely to have a crash. The same can be said when you drive in rainy weather on the highway, and maybe the signs say you can drive 130, when it's really only, let's say, reasonable to drive 80. This concept of understanding that following the traffic is a better choice than following the rules of the road is something I think is quite normal to learn as a driver. Well, what I will try
I have to warn you though that that won't work when you try to explain that to the police officer.
Yeah, that's maybe possible, but at least typically, if you go to another country and you drive around, driving the same way as the locals won't land you in a lot of trouble. At least from my experience. But I do agree. What I will try to teach you today is that even if you are, for example, simple, and you, better than anyone on the server, understand basically the rules of the road, or like the rules of Counter-Strike, sometimes deviating from the rules of Counter-Strike that you would normally follow is actually advantageous, because it will allow you to more closely play with your team. And this demo that I picked out, I mentioned already, I was playing very bad, and a lot had to do with me wanting to do more than was being done by my teammates, basically. Especially on the T side, I had many rounds where my teammates, at least from the feeling that I had, were not following basically the rules of Counter-Strike, but instead forced me into an awkward spot where I was doing stuff that I shouldn't. And that is sort of the opposite way of how you want to approach it, considering at this moment I'm the high elo player and I want to be the one carrying in a normal circumstance. So just also a kind of disclaimer. My name here in this match is Efogag. It's because Faceit has introduced, like, for some of the like more prominent streamers, a stream snipe protection, which means I don't have my normal name on the server, so that people don't know who I am. So here is already an example of following the traffic, if I remember correctly. We want to go A, and one of our teammates was AFK at the start. Now we do a fake B-split. And for some reason, this fake B-split actually nets us a kill, but the A players decide to stay on A. And the normal thing, the normal sort of reaction from CTs in this moment will be when we fake a B-split and we get a kill over towards B, they should now be rotating to B. But for whatever reason, they don't. I get a headshot, but I get killed, and now we die multiple people. And this is an example of where, even though I potentially played this round correctly at a pro level, because this is not the pro level, it gets me killed. And there is especially one round later on. I will skip ahead a little bit, especially in some of the eco rounds. Because there is especially one round very early in the game where, actually I guess I can skip ahead like this, right? I'll do that in the future. I think it may be this round. Yeah, this is the round. So, bear in mind at this moment that I am the high elo player. I am basically supposed to be like the simple of the server. I'm supposed to be the hard carry. Especially considering the orange player has 1000 elo less than me. But notice how he approaches ramp. So he is way ahead of me right now. And as we got closer to ramp, now he starts slow walking. Way before any CT can ever hear him. He is waiting for me to overtake him. And that's why you see me now stopping and not wanting to go in front of him, because I'm trying at this moment to follow the traffic. Now, he goes all the way to the right and holds ramp from the back here at the start of the round, which, again, it's not how a professional player would play this. You can see again, I look to the side, and he just crouches and waits for me to go in front. Now, the way it ends up, and you can see his tempo that he's putting, is he is closely following me, and I even try to take steps back to make him play first. But he constantly is waiting for me to overtake him. And now, when I go over here, I try to go on the left to again try to get him to go first, since I know he's low elo. And he says, I'm holding stairs for you, you can go out. This is an example of me now not following the traffic. And as the sort of high elo player, the supposed carry in a match, I am now going up and creating space with no support utility, no bait, and no trade potential. And we will see how it works out. So I now...
He's baiting you.
He is baiting me, completely baiting me. No question about it. Now I get contact on this guy. They know I'm slope. And my teammate is still fully baiting me. Like, look how far back he's sitting on slope currently. Now I'm trying to use utility for myself to try to facilitate myself taking space. And when I push back the CT player and jump across here, my other player in con is now also not playing. He's also going and playing really slow. And now, in a desperate move, I take a fight against the jungle guy, which is very disadvantageous. It's a rough fight for me because I've just been jumping. This guy is peeking me on timing. I don't have much space to move, and I die. This is an example of what I believe someone like Simple. I'm not saying that I'm anywhere near as good as Simple, but the sort of mindset of Simple here would be that he keeps playing the rounds exactly the way he would normally play at the pro level, because that is what realistically should be the best choice. While that is true, and while you should definitely be thinking about what would be the best option in this round, you need to consider that the traffic in this example are my teammates. My teammates are not going to be making the correct decisions. My teammates are not going to be playing along the rules of Counter-Strike. And so for me to maximize my potential and my win percentage, I actually have to, even though this might be the sort of more correct play, there is also the possibility of me going here slope and just waiting a little bit. Maybe going to sandwich and waiting a little bit. Waiting for someone to do something. Maybe some CT will walk into my aim, I get a free kill. Maybe I can swing, I can get another kill. Any Counter-Strike round has many different kinds of ways to approach winning. And while, again, I want to stress it, I still think what I'm doing here is correct. But because my teammates are not on the same page as me, it becomes a bad play. Like, if we look at my play in a vacuum, me doing this nade is good. And me doing the molotov to deny the re-aggression is also good. But this, it is, again, a disadvantageous duel. And it's something that could have been avoided if I instead would have been basically doing what my teammate is doing. We can watch it one time from his point of view, and we can see how sort of egregious the baiting is. He comes over here, now he starts slow walking, now he goes to the side, and he just starts holding here. No one can ever push here. So he's just waiting for me to go in front. Now that I'm going in front, now he will start walking. Now I stop, he stops. Now he's afraid to go. He's waiting for me to go first again. Now I go first. Now I cross to the left side and thinking, okay, maybe he can go out. Then he says, I'm holding stairs, you can go out. Every single thing he's doing here is to try and bait me to die. And it is a way for him to kind of maximize his stats, but it's not a good way to win. He is currently not following sort of the rules of the road. He is not following the rules of Counter-Strike. And so what I am doing is trying to fix it. I am trying to fill that hole that my teammate here is creating by not doing the correct thing. And that is what some players, like for example Simple, they get very good at doing in pro play. But it also means that if the team is performing poorly, they are more likely to perform poorly. And that's why someone like Saiwu, almost no matter how poorly his team does, he will always play well, because he is the master of following the traffic. It's possible that if this was Saiwu, he would just wait and let his teammate go first. Or maybe he would go out Tetris and call for his teammate to take like some space or do some kind of, just do anything. But as you can see, again, my teammate doesn't even bother to hold bench, sitting here with no util at all, has zero way of helping me. Now he will basically bait me. And if we go to my other teammate, let's see if we can find him. The way he is approaching this as well, I at least when I played the round had the feeling that this was quite slow. I might be wrong. Like now he's chilling in the smoke, which is kind of fine, but I'm doing a lot of pressure. Now he's going over, he's gonna peek stairs and stuff. And there's zero effort for him to try and trade my death here. If we continue the demo and we go more rounds, I'm starting out with a rough 0-3. My stats in general don't really matter, but I remember thinking on this T side that I barely had any chance to kill anyone the entire game. Here, I guess this is also a little bit unfortunate, but I assumed my teammate would peek, and he didn't. I didn't do a very good job of following the traffic, because I didn't understand that he did not want to peek. And now I, at the back, am the one to get the first contact again and die. And I'm pretty sure if we continue like this, it will continue most of the game. Now I'm helping my teammate get boosted. I'm trying to play a little bit more passively. But now again, I end up almost being the first guy to die. Being the one getting the first point of contact. And here again. Like, I actually no, this round is one where I actually do a pretty good job of following the traffic. You can see when I am molotoving con and stuff, I'm waiting. My teammate is now actually the first guy who kind of takes the space. Now I'm gonna do more util, and my teammate underground has snuck up as well from underground. So we now have actually a round where there is some kind of connection between the mid players. Now this could just as well have been me. But what I do well here is that because they don't know for sure, I guess they kind of know about the underground guy. At least I tell him to molotov short, and eventually he will. But what I do here is I kind of stick close to my teammate and I follow the traffic, but I'm not over peeking at any moment. Now my teammate dies and he gets the kill with the molotov, but this creates space that I can now take. That allows me to get us in a position where we can win. Because now I actually go over and I get, I think, almost the only kill I get in this entire half. This is a round where I do a much better job at following the traffic. If we just go back a little bit, and check the radar as well, there is way more connection between the mid players. Like, we are actually taking the space from underground and from top mid at the same time. The A player is now taking contact, and this kind of makes me accelerate and take more space, because I know the focus is now on A. And now we get a kill. Orange. At this moment, I've been telling him a lot. He needs to try to, with the low elo, create more space and let me trade him. And in this round, it actually works. From what I remember, he goes up, he gets a good kill. Now I die, but I get immediately traded. And this is again an example of a round where I think I do a pretty good job of following the traffic. And this is another round that we win. Now let's see what happens in this round. Oh yeah, this is actually another round. I mean, I think it's not so much what I'm doing, but we've called from spawn that we want to do an early B split. And I am running over. This is the whole idea. Our AWP is using util to set me up to take further space and come over short. But look how poorly timed my B players are going. The AWP was just playing up on Balk. Now, as I'm going over here, I'm spamming. I'm getting contact from kind of A, and I'm putting pressure on window a little bit. Now I'm getting a flash for short. I'm going to swing and peek. And now I'm going to die because they have decided to... I don't know if they saved an op. They saved an op. So I run into the saved op. And there is 0 chance that my teammates trade this, because they are just way too far away. So what happens in this round? Well, this guy kills me. He has plenty of time. Gets another kill. And I think... Oh, he doesn't get the third kill. But now he gets basically traded. In this round, it's not that I really could do a whole lot different in terms of following the traffic. But my teammates here do a really poor job at connecting with me in terms of the pacing. And... it is kind of so far the case that the rounds where we have actually had a good connection with sort of, let's call it the traffic, when we've been playing at the same speed, we have been winning. Now, this is specifically a round where at this moment I am 1-6. Again, especially in Faceit, I have absolutely no reason to care about stats. It's more to paint a picture for how the match has been going. And my idea now is... I want to play in a way, since I'm the high elo player, where I can either play away from my teammates so they can't bait me, and I can try to like play timing off of what they are doing elsewhere on the map, or I need to play sort of the guy being the baiter and have a teammate run in front that I can trade or help with util. I haven't kind of counted. But if you think about just a couple of rounds, there was the one round where I peeked here with Deagle and died to the op. Now I had a round where I ran over here, I didn't even fire a bullet. There was the round on A where I had to do some crazy... I used all my util for myself, and then I had to create some space. That's at least 3 rounds where I barely got a chance to even shoot a bullet. Simply because of the nature of the rounds, like the way the rounds transpired. Here as well, what I get as a call in this round is there are 3 B right now. This is the call I'm getting. And this is the reason why I'm now taking timing out A. Because I've just gotten the call there are 3 B. This is, I mean, now that I see it in a demo, very wrong. And I also will die with, again, out shooting a bullet. But as you can see, there's again a huge disconnect in terms of what we're doing. I am trying to take a lurk timing because I get a call that the CT should be 3B. But the 2 players here, they can't react on B on my play, but they also can't react on A on my play. They are not doing a good job at following the traffic, and in some sense, I am not doing a good job either at following the traffic. I think in this round, you could argue that I'm playing off the information from my teammate and the information is bad. But there is also the possibility of me sitting back in apps, waiting for my teammates to come over to my side of the map. We are 4-4, and maybe we win the round like that. Does it so far kind of make sense to you guys? What I mean with follow the traffic?
Yes.
Perfect.
At least for me.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, because it kind of sounds like what I am trying to say in a more convoluted way is that you need to play the same pace with the entirety of the team. That is basically also what I'm saying, but I think the understanding this on an individual level is big, because I think so far in this match, like even with the things that I've died to, like the one in B house, I was trying to play with my teammate. The one where I ran short, I was following the plan, kind of as the only guy, because the 3 guys in B house were not ready for a B split. The round on A, I still think this was probably the right choice. In a 3-on-5, I have to create some kind of space. I feel in the moments, and also looking back at it, I have made a lot of the right decisions, but just, I guess, in a way at the wrong times. And there will, in fact, I think this round again be a situation where, yeah, it's a... I will let you watch. So here I do a better job of following the traffic. I have really a big focus on this at this moment, at this stage in the game. But as you can see, this guy is not creating the space. He is not doing the right play. We have both right side smokes, and there's one CT smoke. He should right now be going out trying to clear shadow, trying to create space and doing things, and he isn't. It's almost, when I go out here, that I am going to be the first contact if he peeks from this area. But now I'm following kind of closely to my teammate. I'm checking sandwich. And as you can see, when my teammate now gets shot, I am in a position where even though I don't get the kill, I immediately could have traded this. If my teammate doesn't get this kill, I will get it, and I get an assist. This is an example of a round where I'm doing a good job of following the traffic, and now I end up planting the bomb, and as soon as I'm done planting the bomb, I somehow get killed from slope. I guess just kind of unfortunate, but still sort of another round where I'm put in a position where it's very sort of difficult to have impact. I did do a good job of following the traffic, and I put myself in a position where I could have had impact. But yeah, just kind of didn't. Luckily, we had this guy, I forgot to mention. Like, basically, the Jack guy we played with was playing extremely selfishly, not really listening to tactics. Also, in general, being kind of toxic. We had the orange guy, who was just... I think the Jack guy was like 2,700 elo. This guy was 2,400 elo, and probably just sort of kind of didn't know better. And then we had this guy, Red-Ons, who was, I think, 3,000 or 3,100 elo. And he became the guy when I sort of didn't want to do it, because it didn't make much sense. He became the guy creating the space every time. And he did, honestly, do a great job at that. It's sort of a thankless job. But as you can see, he's doing good utility. He's jumping out here. Now, I get one kill. And I think even I do get another kill. And then, now I die to the 2 kitchen players. But as you can see, in these sort of later rounds where I've actually been following the traffic, and kind of just following the pacing of my teammates, things have been going way better. Here again is an example of my teammate Jack in this moment actually doesn't do a very good job of following the traffic. We have an idea that we want to do an A execute here, and he decides to just peek early. But he gets the kill, and as he's falling back, because I tell him to, instead of me taking over from him and running up fast and creating the space now, I wait, I do a flash, now I go up and I take a little bit of space, but I relax. Now Jack with the low HP goes out and creates more space, and this is honestly the the sort of more correct way of doing it. And now I do, a little bit crazy move. A lot of damage. But it's clear, even though my stats basically are still pretty shit, 3-9 with not that much damage, the amount of impact I'm able to have now as the high elo player, or the best player on the, like, well, not necessarily the best player on the team, but the theoretically best player on the team, I'm finding myself much more in positions where I'm able to do something good, have impact even though I'm maybe not getting kills, and we are winning a lot more rounds. So I want to watch one last round, and then I think what I want to do is I want to go and switch to a... we can watch this round real quick. I think I do a good job of following the traffic here. Problem is just they have like insane B-stack here. Like we run into a 3-man B-stack and yeah, we just don't really... It's just a bad call. Just to skip towards the end of the game, it ends up going to many overtimes. I end up having like a resurgence a little bit. Right now 12-9. I think in the later stages of this match. Now I have 16-21. And we do end up winning the game. So, like, the point of the whole thing is just when you are the highest elo player on the team, when you are the theoretically best player, or if you are the star player, like supposed to be the star player on your team, consider this thing of following the traffic. This is something I think I was very good at the sort of beginning of my pro career in Sprout, was that I was rarely the space creator, which made a lot of sense as the AWP. Some would probably call me a bit of a beta, which may or may not have been true. But at least one thing that I can say for sure is that I was very good at following the traffic. I was extremely good at playing around my teammates and not doing something too sort of aggressively, I guess, without either the support of my teammates or the sort of trade potential of my teammates. What I'm planning to do now is I will join a Mirage server real quick, just go over a few more thoughts, and then I will load up a Saiwu demo, also from Mirage, also overtime, that he won recently, playing with some sort of semi-top players, but not the best players, like people who are not pros. And we will see probably his ability, I hope, to follow the traffic, because I think he's the best at it in the whole world. As the high elo player and as the theoretically best player on a server, or at least on my team, if I am the one going up and creating space, if my teammate who was sitting in this one round holding stairs, if he doesn't have any util, there's nothing he can do in terms of making my life easier. Me going up and entering with all the util doesn't make any sense. It is literally just because he baited me very hard. I think that was quite evident. But what you have to understand is when you are the theoretically best player or the sort of star player on the team, the idea is you typically are sort of better at almost everything. There will obviously be things like, well, at least when you play Face It is probably the better example. I am better at supporting than this guy. I'm better at entering. I'm better at clutching. I'm better at a lot of things, because this guy is far below my level in elo. And if the roles were reversed and I was the one sitting holding stairs and he was the one sneaking up to sandwich, well, what I would probably do is I would come here, I would aim up from here up to here, do this, and maybe do a stairs flash and come and take a CT from Apex. Now we have kind of a deep jungle smoke. We have a flash for stairs that he can swing with. I can hold his CT, and all of a sudden we have a sort of situation where we are generating a winnable position out of a 3-on-5. This would allow also my connector player to split up and come bench, and maybe this guy that came out jungle and killed me, well, maybe he pushes in front of the smoke, gets blind, this guy comes out, he kills him, all of a sudden we have a 3 on 4, we have a chance in this round. Me not following the traffic here made me die and gave me a much lower win percentage. So essentially what follow the traffic is, as a theory designed to help you with, is understanding carrying to some extent. If you are a much higher elo player than your team, you are expected to carry. If your name is Saiwu or if your name is Simple, you are expected to carry day in and day out. And for players like, I think, players like Simple, who have this mindset that they always want to do the individual correct decision, it means if their teammates are much worse, they will play much worse. But someone like Saiwu is just, in my eyes, much better at following the traffic, and I'm hoping that he will prove that now in this demo. Just to talk a little bit about who are on the server here. I don't know the players too well. They are all French players from what I understand from Saiwu's team. Nick used to play with Saiwu in Saiwu's kind of first professional team, AAA, I think. Or at least he has been sort of a semi-pro slash pro kind of in the French scene. From the other team, I don't really know anyone except Freddy. I think he was maybe in FPL at some point, or at least he was an FPL challenger for many seasons. He has also played in, I think, like teams like Isuba and stuff like this. And he's a pretty good aimer. I've played him quite a bit. So he is definitely no slouch. He's not... I think Saiwu's team definitely has a higher average elo, but he's not playing against bad players. And you see here, Saiwu being part of the pack. You see here as well, he's stopping and actually allowing his teammates to create the space. And now, he places the bomb. Again, his teammate is the one sort of swinging for him. And just in general, he's playing closely around his teammates so far the whole round. And gets a little unlucky in the end. But I think we will see this a lot. We will definitely see some rounds as well where he goes up and plays entry. So here again, you see a close connection between all players. They are sort of all doing a great job at following the traffic. Now, here there was actually probably a situation we can argue. This Fires guy wanted to make an aggressive play, which is fine. But the part about following the traffic didn't really work for him here. Because he was making an aggressive solo move. He died with no trade potential. And yeah, that's basically it. I will, I think, skip through some of the rounds here, just so we can get a feel for how many rounds Saiwu is going out and entering alone, or creating space alone, or moving forward without having any teammates around him, and without any teammates doing utility for him. Like, maybe even what we can just have focus on is how closely he is connected to his teammates in every round. So in this round he is actually sort of not following the traffic. He's taking pretty aggressive space. But it's not that he has made... he's basically not forced himself into something like lurking through the con smoke. He's now taking the amount of space that he thinks he can do for free. And now he's waiting for his teammates to group up with him. And then he is playing. And this puts him in a much stronger position to get kills and to win the round. Even though Saiwu is not playing at this moment with his teammates from Vitality, who are absolutely all world-class players, he still manages to play very well with his team. I don't think Saiwu plays a lot of solo queue as well, which gives him an advantage. But obviously when he plays something like FPL, it is a sort of solo queue. And yeah, I mean, it's we don't have to sort of watch a million more Saiwu rounds. It's just more to try and help support the theory that following the traffic is what is going to ultimately win you rounds. When you are playing at a high professional level, when you're playing in a professional team, well, following the traffic becomes basically second nature. It's part of what you do. I mean, that's the whole goal of practicing. The whole goal of being a professional team is promoting this kind of team play. But understanding that from an individual point of view, there are always decisions you can make to, how can I say, put yourself in a spot to up your win rate. I have played, for example, in the past where I played in a pro team and we get a new player, and when he actually is in a role to basically play entry, he is a very passive player. And what I am the type of guy to do is, if I see a place where I want to react, let's say there is a situation, we kill like the slope player, the slope CT is playing here. Imagine there's no smoke. The slope player is playing here, and now my teammate comes and peeks and kills him. And I see on the radar, or like on the top right on death notices, that this is this is the A player. Well, what could be one way to react with this is doing a stairs flash and getting into the apex corner and doing a jungle molotov that lands so the orb can't hold because it spreads the whole way, and having more stairs flashes and whatever, maybe even bouncing the top con smoke and taking the space that way. But another option is just after getting this kill, we just all fall back, or we just all relax, or we all regather in group B, or in every Counter-Strike round, you have a choice. Every Counter-Strike round has 200 million different ways you could play it. You could instantly peek. You could peek after half a second. You could peek after 1 second. You could peek after 2 seconds. Understanding that you individually always have a choice is a really big thing. There will be times when, at least if you're playing on a team basis, you will sort of be forced to, I guess, follow a tactic, kind of like the round from my demo where I was peeking short with a flash and my teammates were just not ready in B house. This is me doing my job. I'm following the tactic the way it is. It has been planned, and in this, it's more like I'm a pawn in a bigger game. But in any round where you don't have a sort of set execute or call where you have a certain specific role, you always have options. And this is what I'm hoping the idea of following the traffic helps with. It is probably mostly a theory you will use for solo queuing, but understanding this idea of following the traffic, I promise you, will give you a much better idea of what pacing you should have in any given round. And we see here again, like, Saiwu is playing closely to his teammates, but not really going much in front. He is supposed to be the carry in this match. And if he would be running up entry without getting utility every round, it's unlikely he's able to carry. The same way, to some extent, and not to try to use it as an excuse for my bad game earlier, obviously a lot of it had to do with me. But if you play in a way where you, as the supposed star, play very aggressively when your teammates don't know utility, or they don't know how to use utility to facilitate these aggressive plays, well, you're putting yourself in one of the worst roles, which is playing entry without supportive util. That is basically a death trap. And there are times where that is obviously necessary, but if you are supposed to be carrying the match with how the average elo is, this is unlikely to be giving you a high win percentage. And that's what I use the follow the traffic for, basically. So I think I will just watch this Sai-Wu demo real quick. Here as well. I mean, he probably will make a move now. This is a pretty interesting round. I think this is the last round we watch from this demo. And then I will just move into some server talk where I can kind of use some more examples, maybe of different maps. You see here again, he killed a guy underground. I think he assumed this was the window player or the con player, because some guy was window, so it makes a lot of sense that it would be the con player. This is probably why he's taking space con. But watch what he does now, which is kind of interesting. Instead of playing out here, where there is actually a gap, he instead tucks in for 1 second, waits for his teammate to come up slope. His teammate now uses utility, and as soon as his teammate uses utility and gets contact, now is when he goes and takes this timing. And he gets gifted a kill off of this. I mean, granted, he had to work for it a little bit, but if he would have played jungle here and tried to take his timing or a straight up duel without using his teammate here, he would have done a bad job at following the traffic. And even though we obviously have the read to say this would have been a good play because there would have been a big timing gap to be had, since no player is playing in jungle, doing it in this way is much more aligned with the following the traffic theory, which is playing in the same tempo as your teammates, no matter how good or bad they are. It's the same, or how can I say, like, there was a recent interview that got posted today of BlameF saying that in complexity he was definitely a beta, because he was playing around 4 hyper-aggressive teammates, and it made sense for him to be a more passive element. That is him putting himself in a role of the star, basically, and making the puzzle work. He is like, not baiting, as in he is completely on the other side of the map. Surely there are some rounds he was playing lurk on some tactics, and obviously that made sense. But most of the time, when you think of someone as a beta, it is that he is closely connected to a teammate, but rarely goes in front. And that is kind of the job of a star. Especially in Faceit, where there won't be a lot of supportive util. If we go and join again a sort of practice server here, we can go Mirage. I think we'll spread out to another map at a later time. If we assume, and I know this firsthand because I've played BlameF quite a few times when he was in complexity on Mirage. Some rounds they would do an A hit, for example, and he would be with the pack. And some rounds they would do an A execute, and BlameF would be completely sort of lurking down an underground and taking like a really late timing and stuff like this. You can argue here that he is not following the traffic, but the reason why the follow the traffic theory works in my brain is that, in my eyes, so long as he is having the right tempo, even if he's on the other side of the map, he is still following the traffic. Following the traffic doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be right next to a teammate. It just means you have to play the tempo that fits your teammates. And again, that is something that is just much easier to accomplish in a pro team. But if I, for example, and it happens a ton in Faceit, let's say I want to lurk underground when my teammates are A executing. Well, maybe in a pro team, what I would do is I would immediately come here and I would try to clear underground and I would try to walk close. And I've had it happen a million times that I get to this position, and now my teammates, for whatever reason, are still not ready to go on A. And now, because it's so quiet, the con player who did the con player who did like a smoke in front of con. Well, he comes out, and on a timing, he peeks underground, and now he has an advantage duel on me, and I die, and my lurk is useless. So what I should do here to follow the traffic is I should keep my eyes on the radar. I can clear underground if I feel like it, but I can wait. And as my teammates are getting more and more ready to set up the execute and go, now is the timing when I walk forward. It seems like I am teaching something that only an idiot could use. But I think this is something, even though I've been solo queuing for a really long time, is something I've only now started to have a really good feeling for. It's not just on the map of Mirage. It can realistically be anything. But no matter how good or bad your teammates are when you end up with them in solo queue, no matter if your teammates are hyper aggressive or if your teammates are hyper passive, following the traffic and following the tempo that your 4 other teammates are setting is what should be your goal. If you have 4 super hyper aggressive Russians with high sense who just want to go out and fight the whole world, well, go and fight the whole world with them. And if you have the whole of Virtus Pro on your team, and you get this kill on the slow player like I talked about, well, maybe what they want to do is they want to go back and they want to hold and play a really slow round and bleed out the CT util and do a late execute. And if that's what your teammates are comfortable doing, you should try to stay adaptable. You should try to see if you can follow the same tempo as them. Does it still make sense to people here?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
That is great. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking about people baiting,
Mm-hmm.
little trick I usually like to tell people to use is to if you want to get the guy to bait for you more, you just compliment him and tell him that he's really good and that he should be an entry fragger, and ask him if he can entry frag. Because most people don't know what an entry frag is, or don't know how to do it properly. But if you tell them, hey, you're an entry frag, they'd be like, yeah, I'll rush out there. You bait me. Whereas if you just bait them, they're gonna get mad.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I think just in general, compliments are a really powerful tool, and it will make people go out of their comfort zone because they want, like, if you treat people nice, they will typically wanna be nice back, basically. And also, what you did see, it was already round 3 that this orange guy, he baited me very hard. And at this moment, I told him, Orange, you have like quite a lot less elo than me. It would make more sense if you were the guy creating the space and I'm trading you. And we could actually see that he started to do it. I think still he was way too passive, but there were some rounds where he actually was taking the point. Real quick side note here: does this kind of look like a penguin, or am I full crazy right now? I just noticed this. It looks like 2 eyes and a beak and like a fat penguin.
That's definitely.
It does.
There's a little fluff ball.
Yeah, right? It looks like... Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, I never noticed that before. Just as sort of a, I guess, kind of last thing before I think we just move into questions for this session, since I think this follow the traffic. 1 hour is definitely enough to make people understand it. I think even 15-20 minutes is enough to make people understand it, but I wanted to back up my theory with evidence. I had a like individual coaching session earlier today, and what it was T-side Overpass, and I talked about how T-side Overpass is the map in the map pool where you will react the most, basically. I guess in some niche cases, Nuke can be it, and also sometimes it can be Inferno. Inferno, you also do a lot of reactions. But in terms of individual reactions, I think Overpass is number 1 for me. I gave some examples of what it could be. Just so people who haven't played pro and maybe not high elo face it, they understand the mindset kind of a good T-side Overpass player. A lot of AWP players like to go down here and will peak with AWP. This is obviously kind of. I mean, it's a good move. But if our T-side underground player says that the AWP is peeking underground, what a good T-side Overpass player will do is he will run and he will just do like a flash and take long. The reason why this works and why it's smart is because what you worry about when you go long is the AWP playing from the back or the rifle playing from close. And if you know the AWP absolutely cannot be long, you no longer have this issue of if the rifle is playing close, well, you want to flash in your back and you want to peek. If the AWP is playing at the back, well, you want to flash deep and you want to peek. But when you don't know if you're playing against the rifle or the AWP, you can take it with 2 flashes, but then you kind of need to be multiple people. This is why I mentioned Overpass is a map that's great for solo reacting, because if I, as T-side Overpass player, hear from my teammate that the AWP is B or underground or he peeked mid or something, and I know he can't be long, I will just do a flash like this, dodge it, and come out and just try to fight the rifle. If he's not here, that means I'm getting all this lovely space for free. And if he is here, I have a one-on-one duel where I have a pretty good chance to win it. And if I do, I get all this space for free and a kill. Plus, we have the info on the only other A player. This is an extremely strong position. This is also why we will see a lot of AWP players, pro AWP players, if you watch demos, peek here, take a shot. They will immediately rotate around to long toilets and try to take this angle. Because if you manage to take this angle in time, you can kill the guy who wants to react taking long. And the point of me telling you this is just Overpass is, because it's a place where you can take a lot of individual reactions and a individual space, it is also the #1 map where I think follow the traffic is the most important. I have played countless Overpass games where I am actually the one with a high elo understanding when to take space and where to take space. And I will take long and I will come out here and everything. And as I'm going close to long toilets, I will maybe even be holding a little bit, and then I will start clearing these angles. And then whatever my teammates who are playing mid or are playing with me playground, instead of coming with me long to take the space, they will just go balloons, and then they will just sit here and hide. Or they will come here and peek this and peek this and peek this and maybe like do a toilet smoke and do like a molotov here or something like that. And the thing with this is our tempo is all not necessarily wrong, but it's all different. What I want is when I'm coming out here and I'm ready to fight long toilets, ideally the tempo that my teammates should be setting is I want them to be here so we can peek long toilets together from multiple sides. That way we almost always guarantee a trade, and we guarantee that this long toilets guy will get out of here with maximum 1 kill. This example that I did with Orb Underground, obviously it's not so easy for my teammates to just rush out mid and go here and stuff like this. The whole point is just, if they use util to take really slow space and like just try to play super safe, and I try to play pretty high risk, but with logic behind it, it is not that what they are doing is necessarily bad or wrong. It is just that they play a different tempo than me. And because my tempo doesn't fit their tempo, both things become bad. And that's why on Overpass T-side, just good tip. Think about following the traffic. Think about this theory. Think about this rule. And yeah, follow the traffic. Before we go into questions, I want to show two quick things. One of them is on Overpass and one of them is on Mirage. It's for the people who stuck around for the entire session and for the people who are watching the entirety of the video. A little treat for you. I found two tricks that I think are pretty kind of overpowered. If you're here and you aim here, if you throw the flash when you're around here, this flash I think is pretty sick. It goes over and it absolutely destroys this guy. It absolutely destroys this guy. If the orb is holding, some orbs will choose to hold like this. I personally don't do it, because if you hold like that, it means the rifle or someone boosted can jump up here and they can see you and they can hit you. So what I see a lot of top orbers do is they will stand like this. That way they still hold the same angle, but if someone jumps up here, they can hit a flick or they can fall back, right? So let's say he's holding this angle. And let's say, I think maybe... Okay, if you throw the flash a little bit further, it will take this as well. It's a little bit up to what you want. But even if the orb is playing on this side, which is also quite popular, this flash will also blind him. At least to the point that he will probably miss a shot. And this is a extremely powerful flash that you can throw for your teammates to be able to take the space kind of free. Anyone who's here will be blind, and the AWP is likely to take a timing shot that will miss. So I think that's a pretty cool little tip. And I have one tip for Mirage, which I also think, for the Face It grinders out there, I haven't seen it in any videos. I haven't seen it in any pro games. It is a NATO Safix special, and I think it has a lot of potential. Actually, I'm gonna need a smoke. So, if you go out mid as T, there's a lot of rounds where you will be going out mid, and maybe you will have something that looks like this, a top con smoke and window smoke. But what I have found is, well, basically in CSGO, you could throw a molotov that landed a little bit like that. By it landing close to this edge, it would burn down. Maybe it is even still possible. I haven't checked it too much. But what I found, at least, is when I tried to throw it, it most of the time didn't burn. I guess you actually can still throw this molotov if you have a good lineup. But as I kind of went away from this idea, I got a different idea. The reason for this molotov in CSGO was you could molo this, you could clear right side window, you could clear the top of bricks, and you could clear up here, and then with a molotov thrown from this side, you could clear everything except up on the ladder. As you can see, from the ladder I'm not burning, and if the molotov, the other molotov lands here, while it will look like most of the stuff is on fire, I think I burn up here in general. I apparently don't burn in CS2. So I went looking and I went cooking, and what I found was, if you go over here, let me just line it up one time. If you do this molotov burns until here. It burns top here, it burns here, it burns down, and if I landed it correctly, maybe because I did rethrow, it did not work. Let me try to throw it once more. It should burn. I think I'm doing something wrong. I think maybe I'm stepping too much to the side. Let me try again. Okay, I can't explain. I think there's it's ghosts or something. Let me try one more time. Otherwise, I will give up on it. I'm actually really confused right now. I've just been throwing this molotov a lot, and it was burning the top of the ladder as well. and I've even shown it to people, and it was burning the top of the ladder, so I'm extremely confused right now. Let me try once more. Now it is burning. I have no idea. I think there was somehow this bugged. Maybe because I threw the molotov in here, I don't know. Let me check if I try to throw rethrow as well. Because it should be pretty consistently burning this ladder. Yes, it is. I don't know what messed up before. But the idea of this molotov, in my mind, is that with this lineup I have, it might be a little bit hard to see in the stream, but there is like a white mark here, and you can aim at the top. And you can step back, and when my thumb, my left thumb, goes under this black spot, that is when I want to be throwing it, like this. If window is not smoked, you can do it by just lining up in a white spot, and then like kind of before you hit this dark line. Like this. But if it is that window is smoked, I just want to show you how it works. You can do it. You can still line up with the thumb. And now, without moving my mouse, if I start spamming here, it means when this molotov burns, the normal reaction for the ladder room player will be to try to sneak onto the bricks. And this molotov is pushing him into an area that is spammable, that I have already lined up to spam. So without the smoke, it looks like this. And there is just zero way that the ladder room player survives if he wants to go this way. If he wants to sit in ladder, well, he will burn to death. And if he wants to go out this way, then you could potentially have someone Delpan ready, holding, and killing him as he's falling out. This was not possible in CSGO. It's because molotovs are bigger in CS2. And so this way of clearing ladder room with one singular molotov, and also being able to get the spam through the smoke, is, I think, sort of revolutionary. It's especially good on rounds where you're playing against low money, because a lot of people will be boosting pistols up in ladder room, and it would make it possible for you to B-split without worries, knowing that ladder room is 100% fully clear, so long as you land the molotov correct. I think it's bugging because I'm landing so many molotovs the same place. That might be it. A couple more tricks that I will show real quick, and then we go to the questions. Is I watched the Stiko's Mirage tips and tricks video. For anyone who didn't, this is now an AWP angle, which is pretty interesting. I think it's cool as well because you could potentially just jump up after. Like, you could take one kill here. If you think no one's here, you can jump up if this thing doesn't block you. Something I think is also quite interesting is you can actually sit here and hold off angle, and if you get a kill, you can swing out and kill more. It doesn't look like it, but if you sit here, if you crouch here, they actually cannot see your head from all the way back. So you could crouch, stand up, and peek on timing. And I feel like there was one more thing that I found useful. I'm not sure. But at least it is a possible way to actually, instead of jumping, you can like info peek like this. All pretty interesting stuff, I think. Very new. It didn't used to be like that. And then he also showed a couple of tricks that I think are really cool. If you're on these bricks, basically it doesn't matter where you look. If you hold shift and you hold W and D, like in the video he shows it here. I've tested it. It doesn't matter. Like if I do it here, I drop without making noise. But legit, it doesn't basically matter where you look. You will always silent drop as long as you do shift and WD. Maybe this won't work. Oh, it still works. You can basically look anywhere. And you can do it with a knife out. You can do it with an AK out. No matter what, you can do it. So if you want to keep your aim trained in the right position, you can do it and be ready immediately. He also showed this, which I think has less of a use. But if you stand here sort of in the middle, you aim here. If you press D and hold control, if as soon as you get out from the ledge, you press A and S, most of the time, you will fall down silently. Right. In his video, he says it's inconsistent. I think now I've done it like 6 or 7 times. I've never failed it. to me, it seems very consistent. And one last thing that I want to show, because this is the more useful. I think it's very rare you will drop from window. It could happen. But if you go on this window ledge, one that is really good to know is, again, if you aim at the bottom of this, and you press, what was it again? I guess W and A? No, wait. No, sorry. You just aim here and you press shift, like you hold shift and you press W. And this is also a silent drop. And the last one, if you aim at this shadow and you run off the ledge and you press shift in the air, it's also silent drop. So these are ways where you can like get down from uncomfortable positions silently in a really fast way and immediately take your lurk. And they're very good to know. They're very useful. So yeah, that was that. Any questions? Anything that was unclear? Not all at the same time? If no one has a question, that's also okay. Yeah, I mean...
I think I got my notes down, so...
Okay, that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I will give it just like a couple of minutes. We can just sit and chill, and if someone comes up with a question, they can give it. Otherwise, let me see if I have anything else that is a little bit neat. I guess maybe I've shown this before, I'm not sure, but some people want to, when they check, like if they want to check apps, they will either do it by standing here and pressing just A, and like checking like that. And as you can hear, I'm making noise on the ladder. Another alternative is to check fast by doing like looking up and doing WA. And then you can check like that and you won't make noise if you do it like correct. But it is like a much harder movement, and it's harder for you to also get like the proper information because you have to move your mouse so much. What is a much better solution? Just go into this, like on this side. And then you can press W and A while looking just kind of anywhere. You can check real fast. And you won't make noise. You can even do this the whole time. You can even do this with a molotov, and as soon as the A player, like the A house player shows himself, just like... I mean, I'm not saying this is like a good idea necessarily to do this all the time. Could actually be a kind of interesting force by strat. Or if the A palace guy, he molotov shadow, you just return and then go up. And you always counter his molotov. I think it has some kind of potential. A lot of people don't know you can go in this side of the ladder. And yeah, I think it's a pretty neat trick. Just show some YouTube. If you go put your shoulder up on this and you aim a little bit above here. Like maybe, see this like pillar kind of. This molotov goes over, lands here, it burns all of default. Wait. Yeah, you can actually also, I think this is just as good. If you just aim here, so like at the top of this. It doesn't land on top of the box, or sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Depending on your angle. But it takes the full noob corner and molotov's full default, so... it clears out noob corner, but the noob corner also has to run through the whole molotov and it's super stressed. On top of this, you can... how was it again? You can molotov here for Tetris. And you can either smoke slope like this, by crouching and aiming here. Or you can also, from the door frame and up to here, in between, do a smoke. And you have perfect slope smoke. This one was even a little bit deep. But what you can do is just do this utility set. And it forces... I guess this would maybe even work. Because I think it will burn Tetris late. I guess I fucked up a little bit. Maybe more here. But you can do this util set where you smoke, slope, and you molotov off Tetris. And the guy has to decide, does he want to stand here in the open? Or does he want to fall behind the smoke? And both are kind of shit. Decisions by him, or like from him. Also one more thing, I guess this will be the last thing. When you come out slope, if you sit in the opening of this, and you see this window, and you do here, mono, this mono burns noob corner, default, and it burns this side. So if you're playing against low money, and you want to clear this entire area, you can do it with one molotov. Like you can walk up, check CT. If he's not here, you can check, and then quickly sit down, do this, and now you know noob corner is clear, anti-ninja is clear, default is clear. Then you don't need to worry about any of that. Yes. Okay. Anyone came up with a question? Otherwise, I think I will close the session for today, guys.
If we are talking about this map, do you have any tricks for retaking A as CT while being stuck behind the smoke and enemies have general idea where you are?
So like stuck behind these kind of smokes?
No, from CT.
From CT, so being stuck behind CT smoke?
Yeah.
I think it's rare that you will start the retake before the smoke phase, unless they resmoke it, which is also very rare. One trick I can give is, I think if you go here and you aim, I think it's here. Here's a molotov that denies the default plant, this plant, this plant, which makes it so they can't plant anywhere except on the inside here, which is easily spammable, or planning for mid, which is visible from short and also easily spammable. So I know this is kind of not for the retake situation, but if you want to prevent the bomb going down before the smokes fade, this can be a good molotov to know to sort of make that happen. And then I guess another thought with that is, like, if you are retaking and there's smoke CT, you can always molotov like towards ninja. I think at some point in CSGO, I had some kind of lineup here where I could smoke slope in a good way. This definitely ain't it, but it's not that tricky to find. It actually might have been something with this spot. Yeah, this would be nice for you to know. So that's why I kind of want to find it for you. I think it's probably... Wait, maybe it was even something with this door. Oof. That was pretty much it. I guess... Yeah, something like this should work. And this is a nice smoke to be able to throw for the retake. Then one thing that I guess people maybe don't know that well is after this smoke fades, shadow can be a pretty strong position when CTs are retaking from CT, because you don't need to worry about right side, and these are good fights because when you go out from CT you typically focus more on this area and then you die from here. As CT you can just jump and check if he is there, and if you see he's not there, I mean, you can disregard that area. If you then have a molotov here, then you can molo all of blue corner, you can molo even back of default if he's playing here. If you have the slope smoke, now maybe one of you go on top and peek this, and the other guy, whatever, comes out here. And if now your top guy dies from sandwich, you can swing and trade, or you can swing and trade this way. If we don't see sandwich, the top guy can like drop, and now we can double peek Tetris. Then there's basically no area they have left to play in. And all it took was like one smoke, one molotov, and one info jump. Is that helpful?
It was, thank you.
Perfect. I think also, just to touch on it a little bit differently, most of the time, I think if you play retake from CT, you want to make it difficult for them to plant the bomb, or you want to make it difficult for them to take space. So what a lot of players who play retake CT will do is, if they get smoke, for example, they will just do like a smoke in front. We saw it actually kind of in the one round from my demo, where we did up-down smokes, and the A player, he did this smoke. And you could see how much it slowed down. We had our guy here. He was afraid of going, like in general. Just, we had stair smoke and we had bench smoke. but our guy was actually very, very afraid of going and creating space. So that's all it took. If you're able to, I guess, slow them down by using util, that's advantageous. And then I guess the last thing I want to say is, even if they would do like the perfect CT smoke, if you let's say don't play in a team and you're playing Faceit and people don't communicate that much, it will be possible for you to hear if they plan default, which would be like this spam, or if they plan front default. And it's possible for you to deny these plans by spamming. And if you have like players on your team who also understand this, like if you maybe say, listen for the plant or something, they can spam this plant and they can spam this plant from mid. So that's why typically on Mirage, when you do smokes, you saw at the one round we did it, we did up-down smokes, and the goal was taking CT space. Because if we don't take CT space, if it's just a full A execute with no idea of taking further space, it's actually not really possible for us to plant the bomb. And that's why a lot of teams will have some kind of safeguard that, okay, then you, holy shit, then you do like take further space by doing a top con smoke and doing like this lineup where you go here and aim here and mono jungle. That way, this is what I talked about when we watched the demo. This molotov bounces in a way where the orb can never sit here. I don't really know what's going on with the molotovs on this offline server right now, but it should land so that it burns. Yeah, as you can see. So the orb can never peek and hold this angle, and this will just allow you to take further space. There are many ways you can do it as well. If your Palace player is here, even you can go and I think you can line up here. Let me see. Definitely not. That was not very good. I guess it's this corner. Sorry. Then you should just do it a little bit lower. I guess here it is. So the bottom left of the red thing. Yeah, this looks good. That way you can do this. I know this was actually crazy, but there used to be a old Brazilian strat where they would do, I think, full A execute. And then literally the first guy would come out here. He would come out, he would clear shadow, he would run over here, and then he would do this lineup to smoke top gun. This was kind of before jump throws were invented, and there was really no good way to throw top gun smoke. But the idea of this was you use your entry to go out and clear, and if the area is pretty clear, it means they're playing retake. So then the idea is we want to take further space after our smokes, and this was somewhat revolutionary at the time. Like no one had done it before, to my knowledge. But now that we have jump throws, we don't have to resort to such crazy things. And it's the same from Palace as well. It's always easy. If you can see this window, slow up. This is good deep jungle smoke. Yeah, alright. Well, I think that was what I had for you guys for today. I need to wake up. Well, I need to walk the dog, and then I need to basically wake up in 7 hours. It's the classic, the Thursday classic for me. So I will, I mean, if there's someone who has a question, I would, to be honest, listen. But if there isn't someone with a dying wish, then I would just thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I really appreciate you all for coming. Yeah, thank you. No, but it's amazing that you guys. I know some of you are here for maybe the first time. Some of you are maybe here for the second or third time. But I also see a lot of names that are here literally every time, and I appreciate you all an equal amount. But yeah, it's it's fucking great that that I'm able to do this. for you guys once a
Wait a
week.
minute. You said I was your favorite.
Not anymore.
I just casually have written like everyone a DM like, ah man, you're my favorite. Like everyone just thinks they are.
Got that copy paste on deck.
And that way everyone's equal. So.
Copy paste.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'll do the kind of outro now. Thank you so much for watching, guys, on the
Yep,
Discord.
Thank you.
Thank you also, people on YouTube who are maybe still watching. And I forgot to kind of shout it out earlier, but if you check the description of this video, there will be a... Actually, I'm not even sure there's a link in the description. Either way, I'll put somewhere a link to where you can sign up for a free month of Gosu Academy. You can try it out. If you like it, you can stick around. I think that's what a lot of people do. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.